Hey everyone, my name's Scott and I'm the owner of the Homer, which is a 24 Hours of Lemons race car that's modeled after a cartoon car from The Simpsons. We've been racing this car. We've had this car since 2008 and it's been sent a lot of press online. We have a lot of people who watched our introduction video on YouTube back in 2013. Lots and lots of positive press on it. Lots of people love the car. And in light of the fact that everybody's staying home right now and looking for things to do, I've seen a lot of the car groups that I'm part of on Facebook hosting virtual car shows, basically just showing what you have and anything neat that you have to share. And so I thought I would go over some of the details on the Homer car. There's a lot of small details and neat things we've done to the car that I don't think you can appreciate unless you see it in detail. So I decided to shoot this video and show everyone. I am no video editor. I'm going to shoot this all in one shot, and it's probably going to be like 5 or 10 minutes. So if you don't like it, then you can fast forward. So this is the car. This is the Homer. It is a 1987 BMW 325e. We bought this expressly, a group of friends and I, we bought this expressly for the purpose of building into a 24 Hours of Lemons race car. And for those of you who aren't familiar, 24 Hours of Lemons is a endurance road racing series where the cars run anywhere from 15 to actually 24 hours in a weekend on road courses all around the country. It was something I had done with a couple other teams before. And I really loved it, but I wanted to do it with my own team, with my own friends, and my own car, so that's what we did. We bought this up in San Jose, and it was $400, $400 legitimate car. I think, if I recall correctly, it didn't pass smog, but it was all intact, and my buddies and I, we went up there. We swapped the timing belt and hoses and freshened everything up on the car, and then hopped in and immediately drove it down to San Diego. And after that, it was stripped out and has become an actual dedicated race car ever since. So to go some of the backstory here, when we first built this car, we were one of the first first teams to really kind of do a major theme and to actually decorate the car rather than just being a junker. When we started off, I have these up here on the roof here. We started off with the car as the Porcupimmer. The joke goes, what's the difference between a porcupine? What's the difference between a porcupine and a BMW? On a porcupine, the prick's on the outside. So I'm sure you can get the punchline there. Anyway, we decided to build the Porcupimmer, which is, we painted it brown and basically decorated it as a giant porcupine. We put these foam quills all over it, big old angry face on it, and we raced the car this way for several years, starting in 2009, I think. In fact, this photo right here I'm zooming in on, that's at Altamont, so that tells you how long ago that was. After we raced there a few years like that, we decided to retheme the car, and we did it as Prixtine. So the prick part obviously has to do with the pricks on the outside, and this is our homage to Stephen King's Christine, the killer 58 Plymouth Fury from his book and the movie there. So we completely redid the car to make it look like a 58 Plymouth. So you can see we redid the whole front end with a grill. It's actually a grill out of a Ford truck. We built big fins on the side, white wall tires. I'm sorry, this is kind of folded down. This is actually stapled to the roof in my garage. This is actually a board that we put up when we were invited to SEMA in 2010. So we put up a board just explaining what the 24 Hours of Lemons is, what the car is, because frankly, we had the crappiest car at the show by far. So anyway, that's kind of the history of it. Now, after we were done with Prixtine, we wanted to build another theme, or we wanted to do another theme, but we put a lot of work into developing or to building these fins on the car. These big giant fins, and so we were brainstorming. We were like, what can we do to reuse the fins? And pretty much every famous TV or movie car that you ever thought of, you know, the General Lee or Kit or that kind of stuff, has been done a million times in Lemons before. So we were trying to do something very unique. And just so happens that me and my friends on the team were big fans of The Simpsons, and it was suggested that we should do, or one of the guys on the team suggested we should do the Homer. And at the time, we hadn't really thought about this. So to give some backstory here, again, I'm sorry if I'm not being very linear in the way I'm speaking, just deal with it. The backstory on this is that there was an episode of The Simpsons back in 91 or 92 where Homer Simpson found out that he had a long-lost brother he didn't know about, and the brother was the owner of a car company. He was the actual CEO of a car company. once they reunited, his brother, Herb Powell, and it's Powell Motors, and that's what the PM there stands for, Herb Powell let Homer design a car, his own dream car, any way that he wanted to. And of course, being Homer Simpson, it was a complete disaster. The car was just absolutely ridiculous looking and ended up costing $82,000 or something like that, and ended up bankrupting his brother's company. So at the time when we did this was back in 2012, 2013. Nobody had ever done a replica of this in real life. There was no toys of it. It was kind of just sort of obscure in a way. The only toy we found for it was actually a plastic scale model that you can assemble yourself, which is kind of a crappy quality. And so we actually ended up modeling this real life car off of the scale model, the plastic model that we had. Now right here, this is ever since after we did that, Hot Wheels actually released a version of the Homer. This is actually a very special one. It comes from the San Diego Comic-Con. And this is super shiny. It's on a little, that's supposed to spin around. Whoops. It's supposed to spin around like a turntable, but the battery's dead. So anyway, the funny part was that after we debuted this car in real life and raced it, shortly after that, Hot Wheels came out with the toy version of it. And I find that to be very coincidental. Also, the racing number, or sorry, the series number, you know, every year Hot Wheels releases a car, it's number so-and-so of the series. The Homer in this series for that year was number 89. I find it very coincidental there. So I'm pretty sure that our real life car actually inspired them to make the toy version of it. So this is what it looks like here. I'm just going to show you, this is essentially the toy version. And so some of the features I'll just quickly point out that are most notable as far as on the outside goes. This is designed to look like, you know, kind of old 50s American car or 70s American car, I guess. A big old grill on there, you know, kind of a Rolls-Royce Lincoln grill. Whoops. So it's got the big grill on the front. It's got the hood scoop, giant horns on the roof, side mirrors, side steps on there. Obviously the big ridiculous wing and fins on there, the the soundproof dome on the back, and then a little spare tire on there. So this is what we had to work with. We're basing it off of a cartoon, and just so you can see some of the features that it shows there, you have your soundproof mother-in-law rotten kids compartment, rear wing that looks fast, bowling trophy hood ornament, really big cup holder, the most chrome ever, lustrous phlegm green finish, plush seats, easy for me to say, that gently envelope and support the generous ass gentleman. Awesome 8-track audio system in dynamic mono. So this is what we had to work with, and we wanted to actually build a real life car of this. But first and foremost, this is a real race car. This thing is, you know, where we take it on the track for 15 to 24 hours doing, you know, 110, 120 miles an hour top speed. So this had to be a race car first and foremost. So I'll kind of go over from start to finish, or from front to back, some of the features and some of the little details that we put into this. So, as I said, this is an 87 BMW 325. It's been pretty highly modified, but the body itself is mostly stock. Starting on the front here, we have the grille. That's a very defining feature. That's actually from a Lincoln Mark VI. And this is actually a very hard grille to find in the junkyard, but it happens to be perfect to fit right there. So got the grill there with the the bowling trophy hood ornament on it, and the front bumpers. It's the stock front bumpers, but we just basically cut out a notch for the grill to fit in there. Added some additional lights on there. These panels right here, these are actually stickers. This is not real. These are just stickers. These wooden panels are just there to block it off. There's no actual headlights anymore. And these are here. These are actually inlets for the brake cooling ducts. So they kind of camouflage pretty well right there, but they're actually for the brake cooling ducts, and they're completely functional. I mentioned here we got PM for Powell Motors. We have the obnoxious hood scoop here, of course. This is something I found online somewhere cheap. I can't remember where it was. Actually, it wasn't cheap. I remember these things were kind of hard and expensive to find, but I did find one cheap because I was missing the insert here, which I just made out of metal. The bumpers, you know, it's the stock bumpers, but just to give you an idea, you know, the quality. This is meant to be a $500 sort of junker race car. And So the quality of everything on here is definitely like a 20-footer. Anything you see on here, it's not very high quality. It is what it is, and it's meant to be just meant to be raced and easily repaired. So all the quote-unquote chrome on the bumper, this is all metal speed tape. You can see this is just high-speed tape, and this is all scrap metal right here. You know, this is just regular sheet metal that's been riveted on there, so you can see up close this ain't pretty, and that's totally fine. We're all right with that. So moving on here, also obviously got the Homer decals. This is from our friends at Sticker HI, or Sticker Hawaii, I should say. They made all the decals for us here. So on the top we have this horn. This is actually off of a Big Rig. I found one in the junkyard. It's not functional, just purely for decoration. On the sides, if you recall, on the model, it has little side mirrors here. Sorry, they're off right now, but this is what they look like. We actually can screw them into the fenders. I just keep them off the car because it makes it easier to store it in the garage. So that goes right in there. Then on the side, we have little door handles. These are just fake door handles. In fact, I had to put the sticker on here so in case anybody's getting in, they use this handle instead. So these are little fake door handles, but these are actually inside door handles from a Renault Dauphine, which is a little French round bubbly car from the 1960s. Hardly see them around anymore, but I just happened to find one in the junkyard, and these interior door handles from that fit that perfectly. On the toy, you'll see it does have side steps on there, and also has the side steps on there, and it also has the like front fender flares or fender skirts. We can't run this while we're racing. We can't run the steps either, but we do have steps that we just bolt on temporarily to the side here. So when we're going to shows or for decoration or whatever, you can see we actually put bolt holes in there, so this will go on the side. But we take those off for racing. Moving on the outside of the car here, I think the biggest thing you'll notice is the soundproof dome. This dome right here is quite a story. These things are not cheap. This dome was like $300 including shipping, and this is the third one I think we've gone through because they don't do very well in the heat and they tend to melt. So I've actually melted one of these, unfortunately, sitting on my patio, and then another one we damaged. So we've gone through basically about $900 in stupid plastic bubbles over the years. But what this is actually meant to be a department store display. So like in New York City, the company we bought it from is actually in New York City, and they use this for department store displays at Christmas time, where they use it as like a gigantic snow globe or ornament, and they put all the stuff in display inside of it. So this is actually two halves. You can see this is two halves, like clamshell joined together here. We just put tape over the seam, but it's all bolted together here, and it's held on with a metal support system, essentially like that. And it kind of sucks because every time we need to get into the trunk of the car, we have to take it off. But we've got a system, and it's not too bad. It comes on and off pretty easily here. But the dome itself is totally secure. We've been on the track, doing 100. You can see I'm moving pretty hard. You can see Bart moving around pretty hard here, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's very secure. Has a big old antenna on here just to match the Homer's car, with of course your antenna ball on there. And I got neighbors going by, so you can say hi to them. These are, since the design of the car, you can see this is like a 2-door with a long back. This is obviously a 4-door car. The scale couldn't be done completely correctly, so what we did here is, as I said, the dome is kind of sitting up elevated. These are like just side filler panels. We use these as tail lights. These are clearance lights off of a Big Rig as well. And so the good thing is, because it's sitting up high, you can actually see through here. So believe it or not, you can actually get rear vision here. It's not completely blocked off, so it's totally still drivable. Within the dome itself, we have a couple of fans in there. Like I told you, the thing freaking melts. And so if we're sitting there with the battery on, or it's in the sun, if it's in the sun, we make sure we turn the battery on and have that fan running. And there's little holes up the top there as well to keep air circulating around there so it doesn't melt. Got a couple of lights here. We took the car recently to the Hollywood Christmas parade, and so at night we had these lights on, just shining onto Bart and Lisa. All right, so what else here? We got the wing. So as I said before, this is actually a continuation of the fins that we had built for the Prickstein in the first place. So this is the original fin, and we basically just built on top of it. We put a metal structure inside of there, and the wing itself is wood. This is just wood. Same thing with the end here. It's not functional, it's just purely for decoration, but it's really strong inside. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm pushing the car hard by the wing, and the whole car moves. So this is very, very stout. The taillights, again, they're from a big rig. They're the clearance lights that go up on the roof. On the back here, we have we did the kind of same thing on the back, where I customized the rear end to look like the toy, or look like the cartoon. So most important thing, or the biggest thing you'll notice, is the spare tire, the Continental kit. This is actually just a mini spare tire with an old Buick hubcap just stuck in there. And I've actually got additional lights on that there too. I blocked off the factory tail lights, just so it kind of looks all like one green panel. I'm sorry, the lights aren't perfect. The lighting isn't perfect here. Same thing on the back of the bumper. We just notched the bumper so that the tire can sit in there, and it's covered in chrome tape. And the license plate. Everybody seems to get a kick out of this. We had a replica Bort plate. So if you don't know, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Bart Simpson goes to an amusement park, Itchy and Scratchy Land, and is trying to find a novelty license plate with his name on it. He goes to the list and he finds all these names. You know, I can't remember all the names, whatever. But anyway, there was no Bart there, but there was a Bort, and the joke is like, who the heck is a Bort? Anyway, so we made our own replica license plate. Itchy and Scratchy Land Bort one, which is actually on the back of the Prickstein plate. But then, to one-up it, we found out that a good friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours who lives in Utah, actually had real Bort license plates on his car. So Dave Sullivan, our friend, he was very nice enough to actually give us the plate. And so we have a real, actual Bort plate on the car. I really love that. All right, so moving on here. What else? So just give you a little better view of Bart and Lisa. Sorry, you can see this is not clean. This is cleaned up. It's got some, I don't know, some kind of stain on it. Unfortunately, this is not fully a show car. This is a race car, so stuff is just going to get dirty, and it's going to get messed up over time. Right here, back in 2013, once we built the car, like I said before, we put a little video up on YouTube and it went viral. We got 700,000 hits in a short amount of time or something like that. And Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, got word of this. And actually, let me step back. We found out that Fox Studios, or Fox's legal team, was just about to send us a cease and desist order. Sorry, I live near a Navy base, so you can hear Navy jets going over. Marines. Anyway, the Fox Legal was about to send us a cease and desist order for this, because we're essentially using their intellectual property, until Matt Groening himself learned about the car and stepped in. And it was like, no, what are you talking about? This is fantastic. And he invited us to the Fox Studios. So we actually got to go to the Fox Studios and help them promote the 25th season of the show. So I have some bunch of photos online where he shows Matt Groening and a bunch of the other Fox and Simpsons staffers riding in the car. I gave them joyrides around the studio parking lot, actually going pretty fast too. It was a lot of fun, and obviously he autographed the car there too. So we've done the best we can to protect this. It's got some clear film over it, but again, it's a race car. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get banged up. It is what it is. So moving on here, more of the same. So this is the giant cup holder we talked about. This is permanent right now. This is just red tissue paper, but it looks good from a distance. And then, same thing, got the other mirror on here as well. So that's it as far as the cool features of, oh no, there's actually one much more interesting party trick on this. This pretty much is it as far as the exterior stuff on the car to make it look like the Homer, but we do have another party trick. So, oh, by the way, was born and raised in Australia, so this is my my little wink wink nudge nudge to The Simpsons about that. Right here, you will see That's a Raspberry Pi right there. And right to the right of it is a little control panel. These are little arcade buttons. This is our sound system. We actually have a sound system with an amplifier down here, a speaker inside the hood scoop, and a speaker right here inside the car. And we have a soundboard full of Simpson sounds, Simpson sound clips. So I don't want to annoy my neighbors too much, so let's go with dope. And then because Homer wanted a horn that plays cucaracha, everybody gets a kick out of that. I do have to admit there was one time I played it on track with another guy racing next to me, and I actually spooked him a little bit, and they actually went off track because I played the sound effect. I can't remember what it was, but so we try not to do it on track, but it's mainly just for shows and fun like that. So that's pretty much it as far as the stuff that makes the Homer the Homer. The rest of it is ugly race car stuff. I'll go over that real quick here as well. So this is completely gutted inside, full roll cage. Sorry, I got my car cover and kind of stuff in here, but you know, full 6-point roll cage in here. Actual racing seat. It's covered with plastic right now because we had it in the rain and there's no window, so that sucks. It's got the passenger seat in there right now because we use it when we go to shows. We can take people around, but I take it out for racing here. But you know, you can see it's, you know, all the doors are gutted and cut out. That's a little airflow for the driver. Here's the command center here. Hi guys. Got our tack, shift light, fire system. We had to add that in there last year, so if we catch on fire, then we can put it out quickly. We don't really use the stock gauges. In fact, the only reason I really even have the stock instrument cluster anymore is for the gas gauge. It's really the only thing that works on there anymore. See, that's a little GPS speedometer. Just a regular racing steering wheel with a quick disconnect because my fat ass couldn't get in and out of the car without it. Here's the gauge panel on here. I mean, this is not a NASA rocket ship, just got the basics there: water temp, oil pressure, voltage, and then 2 lights, one for oil pressure and one for water pressure, not temperature, but pressure. So that way if we lose a belt or something, we know about it right away. We have wipers and lights and stuff like that. I'll show the lights in here in a second too, but for the most part we don't really use the lights. And there's the rest of it right there. So pretty straightforward, nothing super exciting on the inside here. It's just a kind of an ugly race car. Oh yeah, I'll just show you the lights real quick. For the Hollywood Christmas Parade, we decided to bling up the car a little bit, so I'll show you here. Can't see it very well in daytime, unfortunately, but I got a bunch of LED strip lights underneath the car, under the front of the car there too, and then within the hood scoop. It's much cooler at night. You have to trust me on that. As far as what makes this car go, we don't have the stock engine anymore. Hold on a second, I'm gonna have to put one hand down. I can undo the hood pin. So one trick to this car is that from the factory, the hood opens backwards like that. So in order to have the grill there, we had to compensate for it. So it's just held on, it's spring loaded right here, and then it's on hinges, so it folds forward like that. We probably could have like hinged the hood to open the other way, but we didn't want to mess with it too much here, so there you go. You can see how that works. I was pretty proud of that job there. Anyway, this is the engine. It doesn't have the original engine. This is an M50 engine, twin cam, 24 valve out of a 92 BMW 325. It's non-Vanos. If you know the BMWs, you can see right here it doesn't have the Vanos bump on it. So this is doesn't have variable valve timing or anything like that. It's just purely stock on that, which I kind of prefer because it makes it simpler. But on the other hand, this is kind of a rare engine. It was only made for like 2 years, so it is kind of hard to find parts for. We've had, just recently we did a head gasket job on it and repaired a few other things, new starter. I was actually getting ready for this to race this weekend. In fact, we were supposed to be racing this upcoming weekend, but unfortunately due to the coronavirus situation, of course, that race was canceled. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing cheating, nothing really out of the ordinary here. Instead, it is an engine swap, but we actually bought, the engine came from a previous 24 Hours of Lemons car that had rolled. Somebody else had already swapped the engine. So this is an E36 engine, and they'd already swapped it into an E30. We bought the entire wrecked race car for I think $500, and then I sold off a bunch of stuff, and so this engine kind of was net free essentially. Had to put a new radiator in here because the old one crapped out, or the old one was all clogged up and we're having heating issues. But car's running good. I'll just fire it up real quick just so you can hear it. And a kill switch. Neutral to neutral. Sounds pretty nice. Idle's nice. It's got double mufflers because our racetracks they have sound limits, so it's got double mufflers, so it's not all that loud. Oh, headlights are on, I forgot. I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else that's too much to tell about here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'd love to share it. We've had a lot of fun with this car over the years, you know, both as a race car and kind of as a show gimmick and stuff. You know, so we've been to the Hollywood Christmas Parade twice. We took it to the Radwood show twice, so it was pretty fun driving it down, driving on the LA streets in downtown LA. And we're still going to continue racing this. Like I said, we're planning to race it this weekend. The race got canceled. Still got a few things to do before it's ready to race again, but we hope we can continue racing this and having fun with it in the future, and hope you guys can join us. Alright, I think that'll do it for now. Like I said, if you have any questions or whatever, let me know. See you guys later.